Before we get to Chika, let's quickly remind everyone about President Tinubu saying that Nigeria has actually passed its revenue targets that it set as of August. Let's listen to the president.
When I took over, 1.9 it's 1.35, 1.45 now. It's been stabilizing there. People can predict. You don't have to know a Cardozo before you get your foreign exchange, you get your imports. What we need now is building the ship, the vessels, for export and import of our goods and create jobs for the people. We know the direction that we should go. We are going up. No, those who may not know will not know. Today I'm standing before you, I can brag that Nigeria is not borrowing, it's dying from local banks. The revenue, we have met our target of revenue for the whole year. We met it in August. I've reviewed this morning. If non-oil revenue is going well, and we have no fear of whatever Trump is doing on the other side.
Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu joins us to discuss further. Welcome to the show, sir. Good to have you. Lots to discuss today. You've talked a lot about revenues, Nigeria, and so on.
Let's start with the president's assertion that they have stopped borrowing from Nigerian banks, and because of revenue achievement, and by end of August, and so on and so forth. I mean, a lot of people have called me again on this kind of thing. I mean, question is, was the president correct? I mean, that's people asking me. And I said, yes, the president is accurate. What his statement was accurate. You know, but it's a very narrow context. But it's not, that is accurate but not complete. You know, and especially when it relates to debt. Have they achieved the revenue? Yeah, they have achieved the revenue for August. Have they stopped borrowing? No. I mean, yes, they have stopped borrowing from domestic banks, but public debt is not the major issue. So it's like saying Rotus, which of the following is correct. Rotus is 6 feet tall. That's correct. Rotus is a billionaire. You know.
No, that's correct. Amen.
So he has chosen. He has answered question A, which is correct. You know, they have achieved the revenue target, and they stop borrowing from Nigerian banks, domestic borrowing. But the larger public debt, issue is not so. How we know also is with the fact that by March this year, public debt was about almost 150 trillion. More than 25% above this level last 2024. And then there's analysts project that by the end of the year it will hit 160 trillion. Because there's another projected 9.7 trillion that is out there to be borrowed. The other thing that's happened is also that he submitted to the National Assembly $21 billion borrowing profile to fund 2025-2026 borrowing plans. You know, so the full context would have been like, I used to go and borrow totality to fund my lifestyle or do my things, but now my revenues have increased. So I don't borrow again. So when the day we will sing hallelujah is when Nigeria's borrowing has substantially, total borrowing has totally reduced. Not the issue of like we don't borrow from banks, local banks again. So that's that. We commend the drive to for revenue collection, especially driven by non-oil exports. That so by August that made a target. So increasingly as revenue expand, then the gross borrowing that, as you've seen, we should reduce. Remember, as I said, they have about more than 9.7 trillion they need to borrow before to fund the budget for this year.
Yeah.
And if we say by the end of the year, it will become about 160 trillion in debt. And then, of course, the $21 billion they have submitted to the National Assembly. I mean, I think they have approved already. For our viewers, let me put it in a total context.
Yeah.
You know, when they mention borrowing, people think that this is a problem. Borrowing is on its own. It's not a bad thing if you know what you use the debt for.
Right.
You know, if the debt is for, you know, the roads, the bridges, agriculture, you know, value-added things to the economy that will input into the system, create multiplier effect, so that the value created at the end of the day will come back and pay back the debt.
Right.
That's the kind of debt that we are looking forward to. But if it's a consumption debt that you borrow to fund your budget, share among the governors, as the case may be, and then they go and consume it, you know, it doesn't add value to the economy. Those kind of debts are very dangerous and for future generations. That's the concern for analysts.
Yeah. And Chika, you know, you talk a lot about how government is a continuum. What about prior, like, ways and means? I know they've securitized that.
They have securitized that,
Yeah.
and it's flushed into the system.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is.
Right. Gotcha. Now, please, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on electricity and this possible flotation of...
What is new? There's nothing new.
Well, on the stock IPO, is that...
You know, I mean, see, we have spoken so much about power, and you do recall that several times I made an appeal to the president and said, you know, be brave, you know, and come in and confront the issues in the power sector, end to end, and so that we can resolve the issues and then move on. And the cuts of any cancer that we're going to, cancerous paths that we'll have to cut off, and let the whole system leave, and so we can move on. You know that in 2013, the whole system was unbundled. Former power holding company, I mean, the whole power, you know, so it's not releasing power to Nigerians, so that's why they name. And it released about 11 discos and then multiple gencos. But those have been buffeted, have been, you know, riddled with, you know, poor corporate governance, poor liquidity, poor financing, poor infrastructure, and other things. That has been the major issue. And have that been resolved? No. Now, do recall also there's a $4 trillion debt overhang that's been in the system, you know, holding the liquidity of the system down. Remember, as I said, gencos have to buy gas. Supply generated electricity, pass it through transmission company of Nigeria, and it moves to the discos. Discos push it to the manufacturing companies, commercial companies, and individuals who pay, and the money goes back to pay back the gencos and then and the gas suppliers. But there was a $4 trillion debt locked in the system there that has not been, gencos incurred but haven't been paid. And that's been causing a lot of problem. And the government, you know, I think in the last month, has been working towards raising domestic bonds towards settlement of those debts. But the issue is this, that you remember that even for the privatized companies, whether gencos or discos, government, I think, retain about 40% of the shareholding for each of those. So government is an active shareholder. But some of these discos are just going to be run aground. And government has to lend money now. That's part of what they raise, the shareholder loans that will come in to liquefy this, provide liquidity to these companies to move on. So, yes, what we're always saying, even from NNPC, we thought about that. We said, let everybody be IPO-ized, let everybody move to the market, and it will raise corporate governance, push the ownership of the company to the Nigerians, and then where it has been done properly, like we'll see LNG, the kind of partnership that is there. Remember,
yes, you've talked a lot about that, yes.
Remember, he also mentioned the issue of refineries, what model they're going to use for the southern refineries. We thought our refineries, we want to move to the LNG model in the sense that you have a core investor, those who are managing it, and then you have Nigerians or the government owning the other one. And you see it's working. Because part of the major problem we have with this is corporate governance. Are decisions optimal? When you want to recruit, you recruit the best. Contracts awarded, are they monitored and for good value? And things like that. And we have always known that when government owns assets, it's always a problem. You know, the dynamics are not the optimal, the best decisions, or based on best practices. And that's basically what it is. So, if you isolate everything and say, is it nice to take these companies to market. Yes, of course, it's nice to take the market. But the issue there for roads is the overlying problems. The problems are too many.
Yeah.
In the sector. And so that taking them to the market, would that, would they just take the problems existing and dump somewhere and clean them out and take to the market? Because I'm not even sure how many of them have sustained audited accounts.
Right.
And to qualify for the conditions required to list companies in the Nigerian stock market,
yes.
including profitability and proper audited accounts, corporate governance, and so many other things. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
But those are fundamental issues.
What about the whole? I mean, I know they've mentioned a couple discos that want the whole issue of metering, even for them to be able to get the revenues needed to. Are there those other issues that need to be faced before?
Of course, I mean, even the report talked about the fact that the metering has progressed from 2003 to 2003 to now, and running millions. But it's still there's a lot of estimated billing happening, and once revenue is not assured, it's difficult to do even projections. So the government has tried so many metering programs that have not worked because the discourse made all the meters are expensive for a lot of houses. So, but the issue that there must be a way that the electricity that's been pushed out, it's been metered.
Yeah. And
so the right revenues will come in. So government have been trying to do that. But I think there have been a lot of movement in that respect, but still a lot of ground to be covered.
Okay, so final question for you. Should we just wait and just sanitize the system, or would that be too long? Do you think a listing can happen before that? Or which way to go?
Well, I think there are a lot of things happening on the ground.
Yeah.
This 4 trillion that are trying to raise bonds for to clear out.
Which is more debt.
Yeah, more debt. Which more debt again.
Yes.
Will come with a lot of conditions.
Yes,
are you following me?
Yes.
So that and we're hoping that when those conditions come, the current owners, you quote, or the discos, will understand that a lot of them have lost their investments.
Right.
And that will come in the total basket towards cleaning these companies before they can be taken to the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I believe that the NGX will not just accept. There are conditions before you can list companies, and these companies must comply, including resolving these legacy issues they have. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Always thank you so much for your insights on these matters. We'll see how things work out.